What fetish is surprisingly actually a thing? NSFW. No sucking. Hep. Read this as no sucking. Wait. Shut up. Can anyone explain spaghetti fetish to me? Sure. It starts when you're a toddler and experience the sheer joy of dumping a bowl of pasta all over yourself. Later in life, it manifests in a fetish when you get gang up head by the Italian mafia. I read about one a long time ago on RWTF. This dude had a ducking weird fetish. He would take a condom and tea in it a bunch of times. Then he would shape it into a gigantic, almost phallus shaped monstrosity. Then he would freeze it and use it as a DLDO to duck himself up the ass. Good luck making a pun for that one. OP. That, sir, is an Alaskan pipeline. Are you ducking shitting me? Visit me. Or ducking birds and the like. A lot of people who are into it like to duck chickens because they're small and readily available. But the thing about ducking a chicken is that it kills the chicken. Seriously. I love imagining an ethics council trying to regulate the ducking of chickens. Chicken. Quicksand fetishists. I have a sinking feeling about this one. I still don't understand how bug chasing is a thing. People go around and purposely infect or get infected with HIV. Go to catch them all. Just in time for Halloween, spectrophilia. Or Zool attraction to ghosts. How they actually get to successfully pull this off, I have no idea. They mostly just Casperbert. I stumbled upon a video once of big fat men rolling around on top of giant balloons. I could see how that might be fun. But erotic? Stumbled upon Yerasuya. Cold SX. Not SX in the cold, although I'm sure it exists. But being turned on by someone with a cold. For these people, there is nothing sexier than a runny nose expelling thick strands of mucus down the face. The plosive hack of a cough is like dirty talk. A sneeze may as well be an orgasm. It's sick. Beat you to the pun. Snot very common from what I gather. Fuzzy sock fetish. Or a cute fetish exists. Anal prolapse. Just learned this fun fact last year. I'm pretty open-minded. But this is a huge stretch. Vor. When I was a teen full of testosterone I loved it. But these days I'm half the man I used to be. At-home castration. Edit. Yalla ducked up. That's nuts. Ear sex. Once you go black, you go deaf. People enjoy oral. I think that can give you hearing aids though. Eye licking. Teach me everything you know. I'm your pupil. Clown PRN. One day we're hating and fearful of clowns. Next day, we're fapping to it. I don't know if they're coming or going. If I had a carnation in my oversized lapel for every time I've watched Clown PRN. Felching. Unloading in someone's butt without wearing a condom. Then sucking it out. You can also pass your semen around after that via kissing. It's nice to have options. Sounding. Taking metal rods and shoving them up your cockhole. The bigger the better. You are a lying liar who lies. Nobody does this. Please dear God tell me nobody does this. Financial domination. I totally get paying a dominatrix for services. But the idea that making the payment as the fetish is just baffling. True story. Back about 10 or so year ago I used to go into them Yahoo chat rooms under a fake hot chicks account I made and get horny men to buy me online gift certificates for Barnes & Noble. Got a lot of DVDs and CDs off that shit. Bus fetish. People get off all the time. Posted this on an older account. But heck I'll out myself on this one too. I'm attracted to stomach noises. Not vor. I'm not into predator prey stuff or any of that. But I've always had a fascination with digestion and people's stomachs. Like the thought of laying on someone's belly and listening is unbelievably hot to me. It's the same with heartbeats. Though to a lesser extent. As for the reason, My closest guess is intimacy. Being that close to someone and hearing such a vulnerable human process gives a feeling of closeness. And yes, I realize how ducking weird this is. Believe me, I'm honestly half surprised I didn't use a throwaway to post this. Nothing is surprising to me anymore. You could tell me that you only get off on ritual grandma sacrifice and goat buckache, and I'd probably just nod and believe it without question. Making puns on Reddit threads. HHNNNGGGG. My fetish is people turning into animals. Naturally, I discovered this when I looked at an Animorphs book cover for the first time. Are dragons duckinkers? Testicle piercing. As in, ramming an object like a needle and piercing through the testicle. This takes balls. I like to assume that every single UPMUSIKE's username is in fact a reflection of that person's fetish. Once more, it tickles me to imagine every single grotesque username on Reddit is in fact a reflection of that person's one throbbing desire. I mean, Ducks with Bucks checks out. Why not yours? Semicolon. Close bracket. Edit. I guess that makes me a simple man. I guess I'm sheltered because everyone I told about this knew this is a thing, but yeah. A guy wanted to watch me duck his wife. I'm black. They are white. Met a cute girl at a bar. Made small talk. Walked away and didn't think much of it. Later a guy approaches me and goes, "She's cute." Huh. I'm say yeah. He says, "You can duck her tonight, dude." Turns out this was their thing. I don't judge anyone. I just noped away. Was he dressed like Superman? Photo mags of very fat chicks eating fattening food in skimpy lingerie while reclining on a couch. Skinny female cousin found a ton of these under her hubby's side of the bed one day. She was a bit depressed about it because there was no way she could possibly compete with these other women and she wasn't about to get fat just to turn her husband on. They separated soon after. What a terrible hiding spot. Came for the NSFW tag. Stayed for ARP's punny replies. Girls farting on cakes. I know what I won't be making a wish for. Back in the days of Dig, somebody posted a link to a website dedicated to videos of paraplegic women crawling upstairs. Butt Sharpies. It's just so brand specific. Eating stuff from people's butts. That one of the girl eating Fruit Loops from the inside of another girl's anus has scarred me. Not surprising. But I'm developing a fetish for ARP's puns. Hand holding. I never see conjoined twins mentioned in these threads, but I know there's others on here. Also yay. Relevant username is relevant. Extreme fat fetish. I like bigger women myself. But there's a limit. I also like it to be proportional. I love thick thighs, fat asses, and faces with softer, rounded features. Bigger girls are really cuddly to me as well. But some guys are in it for the fatness itself, and to them, the bigger the better. This also borders into eating fetishes like gaining, which involves women who are already morbidly obese getting even fatter by eating lots of junk food. Not for me at all. Tamackery. Abusing men's balls. I've always figured furries was ducking weird myself. Coming on dolls. NL. Seems to me it's just ducking shti. Oh. I have several good friends who work in the fetish industry. Here are my favorites that I've heard about thus far. Puffy jackets. Not even any nudity involved. Just girls doing things in puffy coats. One friend had a client who paid her to berate him. She got a text one night from him asking her to completely, figuratively, shti on him and his favorite team. She knew nothing about the team, and her husband just so happened to hate said team. So she just handed her phone to him for about 2 hours and received a 4-digit paycheck. A different friend has done vor videos and Different client also sent me the script. People usually have very detailed requirements for their fetish that he hired her to act out. It didn't even require nudity or sex. It was her lying on a bed and arguing with a DLDO. Girls attempting to start cars. And failing. Also a fetish. And a huge one at that. Babies. Like the Lost Prophets singer. Most in here are something I'll either laugh at or cringe at, but at the end of the day I'll still think meh, each to their own, but this one upsets me so much. Just thinking about Ian Watkins makes my ducking blood boil. And the fact that he used his fame to manipulate women into letting him abuse their children. Some people just don't deserve to live. Even in jail. Mine is chubby girls. 160-250 lbs. Walking, jumping on my chest. Sometimes in heels. And standing on my face. I've paid thousands to escorts for this. It surprises some people. Must feel like a giant weight has lifted in telling this story. People bring up an obscure fetish. And OP makes a wacky pun about it. It is hilarious though. Keep 'em up. Shitting on someone. Like. What the duck is wrong with some people? I'm a pretty open-minded person in general and have seen some weird shit where I was like, oh okay. I guess that's just their thing. Whatever. But shitting on someone? I'm sorry. That's weird as duck. Not that I find it at all appealing. But I've heard about this stuff too often to be surprised by it anymore. And as long as everyone involved knows what they're getting into ahead of time. Because that's not a fetish someone can just spring on you and see if you're okay with. Like. Say. Spanking. Cuckold. Why would you want someone to cheat on you? Not only that, but also mock you and degrade you and outright telling you that they prefer someone else. Insane. I once had a very strange encounter with a man who wanted me to become his wife and move in with him. He wanted me to walk around the house barefoot whilst heavily pregnant. It was an odd combination of fetishes. Looking through this thread to make sure mine isn't on here. Calculus. It actually ducked me so hard I had to drop out of school. I once knew a guy who jacked off to actual beheading videos. He's in jail now. I'm not joking. I just don't get this whole SX fad. Furries thing I thought was a joke at first. Just sounded too cute to be real. Why yeah. Furries are weird. Uncircumcised shaming. Directed towards the uncut audience. Uncircumcised people have a bad rap. Transformation erotica is an odd fetish to me because in many cases the thing that is being fetishized is literally impossible. Like a person being magically transformed into a child's doll. Or an anthropomorphic pony. Or a member of the opposite sex. These are things that could never happen in the real world. Yet for some reason images or stories about these things that can't happen trigger arousal in people with the fetishes. Fart PRN. Basically women sitting on chairs farting. Have fun jerking off to that. I once stumbled upon a PRN video of a woman farting on a cake and I never laughed harder in my life. Hope I'm not too late to creep everyone out. I dated a girl whose fetish was to be abandoned. Like thrown in the dumpster, abandoned. I would tie her up so she couldn't get out of a fetal position. Put her in a dumpster. Come back 2 hours later and we would duck like donkeys at a discotheque. It was the scariest 8 months of my life because I was convinced she would be dead or gone most of the time I came back to get her. No SX has ever been as good though. When I untied her she ducked me like there was a bomb in her vagina and my DCK was the defuse kit. Moral of the story. The whole houseboy thing. Older men letting younger men live with them in return for chores and the occasional Zul favor. Oh, I thought that was called uncle. Pun fetishes. I think I said this before. But. Anthropomorphized. Airplanes. Edit. Apparently I need to clarify. And I haven't. I don't mean stuff along the lines of JJ the jet plane or Disney's planes. I also don't mean anime girls with plane parts and artillery attached to them. What I mean is planes that have pronounced human anatomy. E.g. a female plane having large breasts and a shapely rear. Maybe I should just describe it as SI airplane so there's no confusion. I was paid $160 to videotape myself getting a haircut. It's an actual fetish surprisingly. Kitten play. Where one partner pretends to be a cat while you have sex. Broke up with my last girlfriend after she told me she was into that. I'm a dog person. Emetophilia. Folks get turned on from vomit. Met a girl online who asked if I would puke on her while we ducked. All aboard the Nope train to Duckthatchsville. Listen. There isn't anything that isn't a fetish. Literally nothing. Rule 34 applies to the real world too. If it exists, it makes someone horny as duck. Toasters. Taxes. Baby naked mole rats. Republicanism. The movie Johnny Mnemonic. The letter G. Kiwis. Michael Moore and yes. Even you. You are someone's fetish. I suggest you find them and marry them. Hentai fetish. And no. I don't mean the typical hentai fetish of casually looking at that hentai category on Pornhub. Or checking on some pictures on Reddit regularly. Or something like that. I met someone once who saved thousands. And I mean thousands of pictures from any sources he could find of hentai. He would regularly search through pictures upon pictures of hentai every single day for ones that he enjoyed. Save them onto an external hard drive. Categorize them. Name them. Regularly look at them. And had to do this every single ducking day. Like. Didn't even necessarily need to constantly do something sexual while looking at them. But had the need to collect them. That's not a fetish. Only thousands? What a ducking casual. Sounds like a PRN addiction. Knotting. Is basically when someone has a dog duck them. How they get them to do this is beyond me. Also terrifying to think about. That's rough. That's not what knotting is. Knotting is when the dog is ducking you. The new fetish that I can thank Reddit for is ARBWAT. Basically pure natural homegrown girl women who have some masculine facial features and short hair. Girls that look like boys. But are girls. Edit. I have a pun fetish. It's very hard reading this thread. Consensual. Marital sex in missionary position for the sole purpose of procreation. Klismophilia. The fetish for either giving or receiving enemas. Eating fesses. Never ever clicking that. Everything you can possibly think of is a fetish. Per Rule 34. Nothing is surprising. Puppy kitten crushing. I can't upvote you for this. Even though you're answering my question. People who do this need Yelp.